A man walks into a coffee shop. He sees a woman sitting alone. He approaches with confidence, says all the right things. She smiles. She laughs. The conversation flows perfectly. He asks for her number. She gives it to him. He leaves feeling like he won. 3 days later, his texts go unanswered. She has vanished. He replays the conversation in his mind. What went wrong? He said the right words. He was polite. He was interesting. Yet somehow something invisible happened that he completely missed. Here is what he did not see. While her mouth said yes, her body said no, and her body never lies. Welcome to the Woman's Rulebook. Today, we are diving into the darkest corner of human psychology, the part that nobody talks about because it makes people uncomfortable. We are going to reveal what a woman's body communicates when her words stay silent. And once you see this, you cannot unsee it. Every interaction you have from this moment forward will be different. But first, let me be clear. This is not about tricks. This is not about manipulation. Those things are for weak men who fear the truth. This is about understanding, real understanding, the kind that changes how you see human nature itself. Carl Jung spent his entire life studying what he called the unconscious, the part of the mind that operates beneath awareness. He discovered something that shocked the scientific world. Most of our decisions are not made consciously. They are made deep in the brain in areas we cannot access with logic. Then our conscious mind creates stories to explain choices that were already made. When a woman feels attraction, she does not decide to feel it. It happens to her. Her body responds before her mind can interfere. Her pupils expand. Her skin flushes. Her breathing changes. These responses are automatic. They cannot be faked. They cannot be controlled. And they reveal everything. Robert Greene wrote that those who can read these signals gain power. Not power over others, power over their own actions. They stop wasting time on dead ends. They recognize real interest instantly. They understand what is happening beneath the surface of words. Most men are completely blind to this language. They focus on what she says while ignoring what her body screams. They hear I had a great time and missed crossed arms. They notice her smile but not the distance she maintains. They celebrate getting her number without seeing that she angled her body away from them the entire conversation. Sigmund Freud believed that the body reveals what the mind hides. He called them Freudian slips when words betrayed true feelings. But the body does this constantly, every second, every gesture, every micro-movement is a window into the unconscious mind. Here is why this matters more than anything else you will learn today. Words lie. People say things to be polite. They agree to avoid conflict. They smile to hide discomfort. But the autonomic nervous system does not lie. It responds to threat and safety, attraction and repulsion, interest and boredom without asking permission. Jordan Peterson talks about the ancient circuits in the brain, the parts that evolved millions of years before language. These circuits run the show. They decide who we trust, who we fear, who we want, and they communicate through the body, not through words. When you learn to read this language, everything changes. You stop being confused by mixed signals. You recognize immediately when attraction is real versus when someone is just being nice. You understand why that date felt wrong, even though she said all the right things. Her body was telling a different story. Arthur Schopenhauer wrote that humans are driven by forces they do not understand. He called it the will, an unconscious drive that pushes us towards certain people and away from others. We create logical reasons after the fact, but the decision was made by something deeper, something older, something that speaks through the body. Now, here is where most people get stuck. They think learning body language means memorizing a list. Crossed arms means defensive. Leaning in means interested. Touching hair means attracted. This is kindergarten level understanding. The real language is far more complex, far more subtle, and far more revealing. What we are about to explore goes deeper than any article or book you have read. We are going into the shadow, the part, Jung said, most people refuse to see, the part that contains uncomfortable truths about human nature, about desire, about what really drives us beneath the civilized surface. And the first truth is this: female desire operates differently than male desire. Not better, not worse, different. And until you understand that difference, you will keep making the same mistakes. You will keep misreading signals. You will keep wondering why attraction dies without warning. Nietzsche said that those who cannot see reality as it is are doomed to suffer from their illusions. Most men suffer because they refuse to see what is right in front of them. They want attraction to be fair. They want it to reward effort and good intentions. But attraction has its own logic, its own rules, and that logic is written in the body. In the next 4 segments, we are going to decode that logic. We are going to show you exactly what to look for, how to read signals that most men miss completely, how to understand what her body reveals when her words hide the truth, and most importantly, how to respond when you recognize what is really happening. This is not comfortable knowledge, but comfort is the enemy of truth. And you came here for truth, not comfort. So let us begin where all real understanding begins, with the eyes, the window that Jung said reveals the soul. The eyes betray everything. Carl Jung called them the gateway to the unconscious. When a woman looks at you, her eyes reveal what her words never will. But most men see nothing. They look without observing. They miss the language being spoken right in front of them. Let me tell you what happened in that coffee shop. The man thought the conversation went perfectly, but if he had watched her eyes, he would have seen the truth. When he talked about himself, her gaze drifted. When he leaned forward, her pupils stayed normal. When he made a joke, she smiled with her mouth, but not with her eyes. Every signal pointed to the same conclusion: polite disinterest, masked as courtesy. Robert Greene wrote about the power of observation. He studied con artists, seducers, and power players throughout history. The masters all shared one skill. They watched the eyes. They knew that eye contact reveals comfort or threat, interest or boredom, truth or deception. Here is what real attraction looks like in the eyes. When a woman is genuinely drawn to you, her pupils dilate. This is autonomic. She cannot control it. It happens because the brain releases dopamine, the chemical of desire and anticipation. Her nervous system prepares for connection. Blood flow increases. Pupils expand to take in more light, more information, more of you. But there is more. When she feels attraction, She holds eye contact longer than necessary, not in a staring way, in a lingering way. The glance lasts half a second too long. She looks away, then back, then away again. This pattern repeats. Sigmund Freud would call this approach avoidance. The unconscious mind drawn forward while the conscious mind maintains social boundaries. Compare this to forced politeness. When a woman is not interested but trying to be kind, her eyes do something different. They scan, they look at you, then past you, searching for an exit or distraction. The eye contact is brief and functional, like looking at a stop sign. You see it, you register it, you move on. There is no lingering, no return glances, no warmth. Jordan Peterson talks about the dominance hierarchy visible in eye contact. When someone respects you, values you, or desires you, they maintain eye contact without aggression. It is steady and present. When someone sees you as lower status or uninteresting, they break eye contact frequently and look toward higher value targets in the environment. Watch where her eyes go when she looks away. Does she look down? This signals submission, or it means she feels something but is uncertain. Does she look to the side? This signals thinking or discomfort. She is processing what to say next or how to exit gracefully. Does she look up? This often signals recall or imagination. She is searching her memory or creating an excuse. Arthur Schopenhauer believed humans are animals with a thin layer of civilization. Strip away the words and watch the animal. The animal always tells the truth. When a woman's eyes keep returning to your mouth, the animal is imagining kissing you. When her eyes keep returning to the door, the animal is planning escape. Now, let me show you something that will change how you see every interaction. The eye block. When someone encounters something they do not want to see, they unconsciously shield their eyes. A woman might touch her eyelid, rub her eye, close her eyes longer than a normal blink. This happens in milliseconds. But once you learn to spot it, you see it everywhere. The eye block appears when you say something that creates discomfort or reveals incompatibility. You mention your ex and her eyes close briefly. You talk about your job and she touches her eyelid. You suggest meeting again and she blinks long and slow. Her unconscious is rejecting the information. Her body is saying no before her mouth can form the polite yes. Machiavelli advised rulers to watch men's eyes during negotiations. A man might agree with his words while his eyes revealed treachery. The same principle applies to attraction. She might agree to a second date while her eyes reveal she has already decided against it. But here is the dark truth that makes men uncomfortable. You can see desire die in real time. You can watch attraction turn to disinterest between one sentence and the next. And once you see it happen, once you recognize the exact moment, you cannot pretend anymore. Marcus Aurelius wrote about accepting reality without delusion. Most men delude themselves. They see the signs and ignore them. They feel the shift and deny it. They cling to hope instead of facing truth. This is weakness disguised as optimism. The strong man sees what is real when her pupils stay normal while she talks to you, but dilate when another man walks past. When her gaze drifts constantly during your story, but locks in when her phone buzzes. When she maintains eye contact out of politeness, but her eyes never smile. Epictetus taught that we suffer when we argue with reality. Reality does not care about your argument. It simply is. When her eyes tell you she is not attracted, arguing with that truth only creates suffering. Accepting it creates freedom. Freedom to stop investing, freedom to redirect your attention, freedom to find someone whose eyes light up when they see you, because that is what you deserve. Eyes that dilate when you enter the room. Eyes that return to you again and again across a crowded space. Eyes that soften when they meet yours. Eyes that communicate what words never could. I see you. I want you. I choose you. This exists, but only when attraction is real. And attraction cannot be negotiated or convinced. It either exists or it does not. The eyes always know. The question is whether you are brave enough to read what they reveal. Nietzsche said that truth is ugly. That is why we have art to hide from it. Most dating advice is art. Pretty lies that protect you from ugly truth. But we do not deal in art here. We deal in truth. And the truth is that her eyes are speaking right now in every interaction, telling you exactly how she feels. The only question is whether you are listening. The eyes reveal desire, but the body confirms it. And there is one signal that cuts through every polite lie, every social mask, every carefully chosen word. Distance. The space between your body and hers tells the complete story. Carl Jung studied what he called the personal space bubble. Every human carries an invisible boundary. When someone we trust enters that space, we relax. When someone we fear or dislike enters it, tension floods the nervous system. The body reacts before the mind can think, and a woman's body reveals exactly how she feels about you through one simple measure. Does she move closer or does she create distance? Watch what happens when you step toward her. Does she hold her ground? Does she lean in slightly or does she take a micro step backward? That tiny movement, barely noticeable, reveals everything. Robert Greene wrote that the body never lies about comfort and threat. When she retreats, even 1 inch, her nervous system has classified you as something to avoid. Here is what most men miss completely. They focus on whether she stays in the conversation. But staying is not the same as wanting. She might stay out of politeness, out of social obligation, out of fear of seeming rude. Her feet might be pointed toward you while her torso angles away. Her face might be smiling while her shoulders turn. The body is already leaving, even though she has not moved yet. Jordan Peterson talks about the lobster brain, the ancient part of our nervous system that existed millions of years before humans walked upright. This brain understands one thing perfectly: threat or safety. When a woman feels attraction, her lobster brain says safe. When she feels discomfort, it says threat, and the body responds to that signal automatically. Safe means she allows proximity. Her arms stay relaxed at her sides. Her body faces you directly. When you move closer, she does not compensate by leaning back. She might even mirror your movement, shifting slightly toward you. This is the dance of mutual attraction. Advance and acceptance, proximity without tension. Threat means she creates barriers. She crosses her arms, not because she is cold, but because her unconscious is building a wall. She holds her bag between you like a shield. She keeps a chair or a table as a buffer. She maintains exactly enough distance to feel safe, and when you close that gap, she opens it again. Like magnets with the same pole, push them together and they repel, Sigmund Freud would say this is the unconscious protecting itself. The conscious mind might want to be polite. It might want to give you a chance, but the unconscious has already decided, and the unconscious controls the body. It positions her just far enough away that you cannot enter her intimate space. The space reserved for lovers, family, close friends, not strangers, not men who trigger discomfort instead of desire. Now, here is the part that reveals true attraction versus performance. Touch, not your touch, hers. When a woman is attracted, she finds reasons to touch you. A hand on your arm when she laughs, fingers brushing yours when passing you something, a playful push when you tease her. These touches are brief but intentional. The unconscious seeking connection while the conscious mind maintains plausible deniability. Arthur Schopenhauer wrote that the body seeks what it desires before the mind admits the wanting. A woman attracted to you will touch you and then act surprised by her own boldness. She will make physical contact and then create a reason for it afterward. I stumbled. You had something on your shirt. I did not realize I grabbed your arm. The touch came first. The explanation second. Compare this to the woman who is not attracted. She maintains physical separation at all costs. If you hand her something, she takes it without finger contact. If the space is crowded and bodies must touch, she angles away to minimize contact. If you guide her with a hand on her back, she speeds up to escape the touch quickly. Every movement says the same thing. Do not come closer. Machiavelli advised that a prince must read what people do, not what they say. Actions reveal truth. Words reveal strategy. When her actions consistently create distance, while her words suggest interest, believe the actions. The body cannot maintain a lie. It always defaults to truth. But here is where it gets darker. Sometimes a woman does not know consciously that she is not attracted. She genuinely believes she should like you. You are kind. You are stable. You check the boxers? Her logical mind says yes, but her body says no, and the body wins every time. Marcus Aurelius wrote about accepting the nature of things. A stone falls downward. Water flows to the lowest point. These are laws of nature. Female attraction follows laws just as rigid. When the chemistry is absent, no amount of logic creates it. Her body knows this, even when her mind does not. You will see this confusion play out in real time. She agrees to another date, but when you hug goodbye, her body goes stiff. She says she had a great time, but she maintained 3 feet of distance all night. She texts that she wants to see you again, but in person, she positions furniture between you like a fortress. The words and the body are at war, and the body always reveals which side will win. Epictetus taught his students to distinguish between what they control and what they do not. You control your actions. You do not control her nervous system. You cannot convince her body to feel attraction. You cannot negotiate with her unconscious. All you can do is observe honestly and respond to what is real, not what you wish were true. Here is the test that never fails. Stand beside her instead of across from her, side by side, like you are both looking at something together. Then notice, does she maintain that parallel position, or does she angle away, creating distance even while staying in place? Does she relax into the shared space, or does she lean away, her body curving like it is pulled by an invisible string? The woman who wants you will decrease distance whenever possible. She will find excuses to stand closer, to sit nearer, to occupy the same space. The woman who does not want you will increase distance while maintaining the appearance of engagement. She will stay in the conversation but out of range, present but protected, polite but distant. Nietzsche said that we must become who we are, but first we must see what is. You cannot become the man she desires if you cannot see that she does not desire you now. And you cannot see that truth if you keep lying to yourself about what her body reveals. The distance between you is not an accident. It is a message. The question is whether you have the strength to read it. We have covered the eyes. We have covered distance and touch. Now we go deeper into the signal that most men never notice until it is too late. The voice. When a woman speaks, her tone reveals more than her words ever could, and when desire is present or absent, the voice changes in ways that cannot be faked. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious communicates through symbols, dreams, slips of the tongue, and the music beneath the words. He said that how something is said matters more than what is said. The melody carries the meaning. And in attraction, that melody shifts depending on how she feels about you. Listen to how a woman speaks to someone she desires. The pitch rises slightly, not in a fake way, in a natural way. Her voice becomes softer, more musical. There is a warmth that was not there before. Linguists call this the attraction register. The tone we unconsciously use when speaking to someone we want to bond with. Robert Greene studied seducers throughout history. He found that the greatest seducers were not the best looking, they were the best listeners. They heard what others missed, the hesitation before a yes, the flatness in an enthusiastic response, the strain behind the laughter. These microsignals revealed truth while words constructed lies. Here is what happens when attraction is real. Her voice relaxes, words flow easily, laughter comes quickly and sounds genuine. There are natural pauses where comfortable silence exists without awkwardness. She speaks faster when excited about something you said. She speaks slower when trying to make sure you understand something important to her. The rhythm is alive, dynamic, real. Now listen to the voice of polite disinterest. The pitch stays neutral, flat. The warmth is gone. Responses become shorter. One-word answers appear more frequently. Yeah, sure. Maybe. Okay. The energy drains from her speech like air from a punctured tire. Jordan Peterson would say the nervous system has shifted from engagement to conservation mode. She is spending the minimum energy necessary to maintain the interaction. Sigmund Freud wrote about resistance. When the unconscious does not want something, it creates resistance. In conversation, this resistance appears as verbal barriers. Her sentences become clipped. She stops asking questions. She stops building on what you say. You offer a story, and she responds with a polite laugh instead of a related story of her own. The conversation becomes a tennis match where you keep serving, but she only returns the ball without attempting to win the point. Pay attention to laughter. Real laughter involves the whole body. The shoulders move. The head tilts back slightly. The sound is uncontrolled, spontaneous. Polite laughter is different. It is measured, controlled. The mouth opens, but the eyes stay neutral. The sound is brief and dies quickly. It is a social obligation, not an authentic response. Arthur Schopenhauer said that humans are masterful actors. We perform emotions. We do not feel. We fake interests to avoid conflict. But the voice betrays us. A fake laugh hits a different frequency than a real one. The brain recognizes this difference even when we cannot consciously explain why one laugh felt warm and another felt cold. Here is the dark pattern you need to recognize: the slow fade in vocal energy. The conversation starts normal. She seems engaged. But as time passes, her responses get shorter. The pauses get longer. The warmth drains degree by degree. This is not her getting tired. This is her nervous system signaling that attraction is not developing, that chemistry is not forming, that she wants the interaction to end. Machiavelli wrote that a wise prince notices small changes before they become large problems. In attraction, small vocal changes predict the end long before she ghosts or cancels plans. The key is noticing early when enthusiasm drops, when questions stop, when her voice loses that musical quality that signals genuine interests. But there is another signal hidden in the voice: nervousness. And here is where it gets complicated. When a woman is attracted, she might become slightly nervous. Her voice might shake a little. She might speak faster, stumble over words. This is different from discomfort. This is the nervousness of wanting to impress someone, of caring what they think, of feeling something real and being afraid to mess it up. Marcus Aurelius taught his students to distinguish between similar things that produce different results. Fire and fever both create heat, but one warms your home and one kills you. Nervous excitement and nervous discomfort both change the voice, but one signals attraction and one signals the desire to escape. How do you tell the difference? Nervous attraction includes approach. She keeps the conversation going. She asks questions. She finds reasons to extend the interaction. Her voice might shake, but she keeps engaging. Nervous discomfort includes retreat. She looks for exits. She gives short answers designed to end topics quickly. She creates reasons to leave. The nervousness comes from wanting to escape without being rude. Epictetus said that most people are disturbed, not by things, but by their opinions about things. Most men hear a woman's nervous voice and form an opinion. She is shy. She is intimidated. She is impressed. But often the truth is simpler and harsher. She is uncomfortable, and her voice is revealing what her polite words will not say directly. Here is the test. Tell a joke, a real one, something genuinely funny, not try-hard humor. Watch what happens to her voice after she laughs. If attraction is there, her voice stays warm after the laughter fades. The next thing she says carries that warmth forward. If attraction is absent, her voice returns immediately to neutral. The laughter was an isolated event. It did not change the underlying temperature of the interaction. Nietzsche wrote that truth is not pretty. It does not comfort us. Most men would rather believe the polite laugh than face the flat voice that follows it. They would rather focus on the fact that she laughed than notice that everything she said before and after the laugh was cold. Plato believed that reality exists in forms beyond what we see. The true form of attraction exists beneath the surface of words. You cannot see it directly, but you can see its shadow, and the voice is one of those shadows. When the true form of attraction is present, the voice glows with warmth. When it is absent, the voice reveals only hollow politeness. Now we arrive at the final and most uncomfortable truth: the silence. What she does not say matters as much as what she does say. When a woman is attracted, she fills silence. She asks about you. She wants to know your thoughts, your past, your plans. She creates conversation because she wants the interaction to continue. When attraction is absent, she lets silence sit. She does not rescue dying conversations. She does not ask follow-up questions. She lets topics end without building bridges to new ones. The silence grows, and she seems comfortable with it because silence means the interaction is closer to being over. Carl Jung said that the shadow contains everything we refuse to see about ourselves. For most men, the shadow contains this truth. The voice has been telling, for a long time. You just refused to hear it. You focused on her polite words and ignored the cold tone beneath them. You celebrated that she responded to your texts and ignored that her response was 3 words and took 6 hours. The voice reveals everything. The warmth or coldness, the engagement or withdrawal, the desire or duty. Real attraction sounds different than polite tolerance. And once you train your ear to hear that difference, you can never unhear it. Every conversation becomes transparent. Every interaction reveals its true nature within minutes. This is the burden of awareness. You can no longer lie to yourself. You can no longer pretend that polite means interested. You can no longer invest months into someone whose voice told you no in the first conversation. But this burden is also liberation. You stop wasting time. You recognize real interest immediately. And you learn to value the woman whose voice changes when she hears yours, whose tone warms, whose words flow, whose laughter is real. That is the woman whose body is saying yes while her words stay careful. That is the woman whose unconscious has already chosen you while her conscious mind still decides. That is the signal you have been waiting for. Not polite interest, real desire, and her voice will reveal it long before her words dare to admit it.